Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. This is Carmen with Elemental Designs. Give me 1 second, let me just get myself together here. Make sure that my volume is down. Turn this thing off. And yes, hello. All right, you guys, we are here today for the very first episode of the Lapbook Adventures. Today we're going to be basically constructing the basis for what our lapbook is going to be. We're going to start adding some of our, major components, and we're basically going to be putting them together. Hello, Sasso. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit more. Maybe I'm too zoomed in. Let's see. Hopefully that'll be a little bit better. All right. There we go. Okay. So let's go over a little bit of the materials that we're going to use. Also, you guys, I did go ahead and start a new Facebook group, which is going to be dedicated to this Lapbook Adventures. And we're not only going to be doing lapbooks, you guys, we're going to be doing all different kinds of things, lapbooks, folios alike, but all different kinds of styles and sizes, just variation, just very eclectic and very intuitive. So they're all going to be different. And I invite you to participate and join that group if you would like to share with us your process as you follow along with the process. So I hope that you guys would join for that. Hello, Isabel. How you doing, my beautiful friends? So you guys, so yeah, basically I left the link in the chat as well as in the comment section down below, as well as in the description area. So you don't have to find search too hard to find it. It's very readily available. So let's go ahead and discuss about the things that we're going to be using, some of the things that you're going to be needing as far as materials if you want to follow along with this series. So as you guys can see, I have here some papers. These are basically dictionary papers, but you can use any kind of paper, even junk mail will work. Basically, we're going to be using this not so much to be decorative, although we can, but we're also going to be using this basically to reinforce, all the covers and all of the things like that. So basically, I have here some sheets that I've gone ahead and pulled out. And basically to reinforce, where they're sewn in place, I just added some tape, just some clear tape. You can add any kind of tape that you want. And basically I did that to both sides. That's just so that it doesn't tear open. And I just made sure that I scored that nicely so that it's nice and stuck down. I only did 3 for now. If we need more, we'll do more. But that's basically what I did. As you know, that these can be really, really fragile here in the center. So I just basically just added some tape to reinforce that. Hello, Tanya. How you doing, my beautiful friends? And so basically, that's what we're going to be, that's one of the things that we're going to be needing. So if you have that, you can go ahead and use some old books, like I said, some junk mail, anything that you want to use. If you don't want to use it for the decorative aspect of it, you don't have to worry about that because we're all going to be going over it with decorative paper. So that's one of the things. The other things that you're going to need is Manila Folders. You can find these are readily available in almost every single discount store or even pharmacy and places like that that carry some type of office supplies. This is usually one of those things that they just always seem to carry. They're rather inexpensive, but if you want to bulk buy, you can check on Amazon. I bought a box of 100. I think it was like $7 and some change or $8. Don't quote me. I don't have a link for that, you guys. But if you want to check that out, all you have to do is go to Amazon and look up Manila Folders and just type quantity 100 or something of that nature, and you'll basically find it. Super inexpensive, and if you have Prime, then you don't have to worry about shipping. So you're gonna need some of those. Now, for this lab book that I'm gonna make, I was going through some of my paper pads and just to see like which ones I've had for quite some time and I haven't used. And I came across these two. And basically, that's what I'm going to be making the lab book out of. You guys know that I love like sea-themed things. And so this is not so much sea-themed, but it kind of lends itself to be because it's got like the map and stuff like that. So it's like a little bit vintagey at the same time, which I kind of like. And then I have this one that I've had for like forever. And luckily enough, it does kind of match the color pattern for the other book. And these are just papers. These are really thin papers. These are by Color Box. And it just has certain things that I think I can incorporate, like the navigationals and stuff like that. And the colors as well, they kind of, lend nicely to one another. So I'm going to be using some of this, and hopefully I'm going to be using most of it for one thing or the other. Um, and then I'm going to be using this one, which is Trade Winds, is by DCWV. And this is an older paper pad as well. And I've used like a few sheets in here, nothing too major, but I still have enough beautiful sheets that I think this lab book is going to be amazing. So I'm super excited and stoked about it, about getting this started, and about getting this like all the way done, and about sharing this process with you guys. So that's like the basics. And then we're going to be needing also some envelopes. Now, you guys know that I like to work with envelopes. If you've seen any of my lab books before, you know that they usually have tons and tons and tons of envelopes. So we have some envelopes here. We have some of the larger legal ones. I also found these in the thrift store. So these are green, small and square. These will do. I've had these for a while. My sister-in-law gave these to me, and I'm running out, but I still have a few left. So, I mean, it depends on what you have. Like, depends on what you have. Every time I see envelopes, I always pick them up, especially when I find them like in thrift stores for like really dirt cheap. I always pick them up because I always use them for stuff like this. So any envelopes that you have, if you want to make some, that's up to you, but you also have that option available to you. Now, I was looking through some of like, my junk drawer stuff to see like what can I get, what can I use, what kind of cute little something or the other I can add to this lab book to make it kind of special. And I found these. I had bought these, oh my God, like so long ago, and I never did anything with them. And they're like coasters, you guys. That's basically what they are. They're coaster, and they're like chipboard. They're nice and thick. So I'm thinking these would look really cute as some kind of either tuck spot or decorative element or something or the other throughout this lab book. And there's different styles. We also have like these little round ones as well. And again, they're double-sided. So I don't know how I'm going to implement them, but I do know that I want to implement them somehow. Even though this is like somewhat seed themes, like you guys know I'm all over the place, right? So it's to be expected during this whole process. Like I said, very intuitive, very eclectic. I just grab random stuff. Um, and basically that's how I flow. So I did pick that up. I did find that. In the midst of finding that, I also found this. And as you can see, it's already labeled 50 cents because it's a thrift store find. And it's a daily guide set, which basically is just index cards, you guys. It's just tabbed index cards. So I thought that these would be cute to like use and decorate and embellish and somehow incorporate into this, either as a flip element or like a flip down or something or the other, something flipping. So basically that's that. And then I also found this little like one of those little colorful like paper pads, and I figured that I can use this to like stamp it out and just add like little notes or little elements here and there, like little journaling areas or little journaling spots. But we'll see if I even get around to it. But yeah, I also found this bag of doilies, you guys. I also found this in the thrift store. Like, oh my God, like I think when I first started YouTube, like this is like that long ago, and I still have quite a few of them, and they're in blues and in greens, which I think will match somehow nicely with that. And if it doesn't match, we'll ink it up, stamp it up. We'll do something to change the color if we're that, in much of a need to add them in the first place. And let's see what else. Okay, so basically, those are the stuff that I found. You can look through your stash and see what you have available. Definitely try to find some envelopes or make some envelopes because you're gonna want to use them somehow somewhere in here. And basically just grab, little things that you haven't used for a while or that you're interested in seeing just how well they incorporate. And I think that we'll be able to do just about anything with these things that we want to do. So I've done them in many different ways, and there's always a way to fit something in or the other. So we have that. We're gonna have some inks if you want to ink up your, your papers and stuff like that. So you got some inks, the stress tool. For my spine, I pulled out this cosmic blue. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use it or how I'm gonna use it yet, but this is like a metallic wax, and I think that I like to edge up my stuff somehow, some way. So I think instead of using the ink to edge up my papers, I'm gonna use up this cosmic blue and give it that really pretty like metallic shimmer all around the edges of the book. And also like in the spine and all those open spaces. I think I'm gonna do that like that. So that's basically what it is, you guys. Let's go ahead and get this started. And we're gonna start basically today with the construction. I just wanted to share with you guys some of the things that you're gonna need or that you might want to have handy. I'm not sure if we're gonna get to any actual decorating on today's episode. Most likely we're gonna be doing a lot of this on the next one and the upcoming ones. So today is basically going to be about the building process and how we're going to be building this specific one. So we're going to start with the the most traditional style that most people have used. It's basically the same style that I use in the other one, at least for how we're gonna open and how we're gonna close it, or at least how it's gonna, how it's gonna be. So usually, um, what you would do is that you would fold this inward, and then you would make it basically about this size. I like to work on a larger scale, so what I'm actually gonna do, and I'm not worried about which tab I'm grabbing at this moment in time, because most likely I'll either cut that off, fold that over. There's always a way for me to use these bits that normally stick out. So I usually don't cut them out until I absolutely have the need to cut them out, because I don't like the way that it looks, against the rest of the stuff that I'm doing. Usually I just leave it and let it flow. Hello, hello, Claudia. Thank you for the love, love. So basically, we're just gonna start this way, and I'm gonna use two against each other so that I can kind of make this a little bit sturdier. I'm gonna be turning the back into a pocket, like a larger pocket in the back. So we're gonna be doing some things to these folders to start off with. Let me go ahead and put these over here somewhere, and let's just work on the first two. So as far as how many folders we're gonna actually need to complete this process, you guys, I have no idea right now, because again, this whole process and the point of doing this whole thing is because I'm very intuitive when I build them. So that's the reason why I'm doing it like this. There's no measurements in the description area. We're gonna figure all of those things out as we go. So if you're not planning on doing it now, then take the time now that you're watching to grab a pencil, grab some paper, and make some measurements, make some notes. If I end up giving you anything to write down from here to then, and yeah, we're gonna do it like that. So basically, I'm going to go ahead and prep one of these. And one of these I'm going to cut to a certain amount, just so that I can have that opening for that pocket there. And then on the other, I'm going to reinforce. I'm going to look for some kind of chipboard or something to kind of add in this space here, just to make it a little bit stronger when I put these two together. So let me go ahead and grab that chipboard real quick. And basically any kind of chipboard from packaging or, anything like that will work just fine. This is one from a notepad, from a paper pad. And we can use that just fine. And between adding this, even though it's thin, just adding this extra layer in there, and then the papers that you're gonna add on top, you're gonna give it durability and flexibility at the same time, which is kind of what you want. If you make it too rigid, it can fall apart on you, because cracks will start to happen a lot quicker. So we're gonna do this part of it first, and then we're gonna figure out where our folds are gonna be. So I'm gonna first worry about these two sections here. And then we'll figure out where we're going to be scoring and where we're going to be folding and where we're going to be doing all of the extra things that we're going to be doing. For right now, this is basically what we're going to do. And actually, I think I am going to remove this tab on here. This tab, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Maybe I'll just score and fold that. So let me go ahead and grab my paper trimmer. And just go ahead and remove this tab. So I'm going to remove this one. Yeah, I think I'll remove that one and leave that one on the outside. I kind of like that fact that one's a little bit bigger. And I just want to make this flush, basically, so I can glue this in the bottom with no problems. So basically, we're going to grab this. I have to go ahead and cut this part off as well. So we're going to grab this. Let me just go ahead and measure from where to where I have to cut. Let me grab a pencil that I can actually see. And actually, I want to bring this in just a little bit. So I'm just going to, so I have a little bit of room to kind of play with. And let me just remove that end right there. And you can basically use these lap books for just about anything. They can be your journal, they can be an art journal, they can also become an album. Like, there's so many ways that you can like give these purpose. And I think that's what I love about it. I'm gonna just remove a certain amount off of here. Any certain amount. I'm not really sure yet, but Just about that much. I'll let you guys know how wide it is right now. Let me just see if I like how it fits. Yeah, that's fine. So basically this piece right here that I'm going to use in this manila folder is going to be 11.5 inches by 6. So 11.5 by 6. Wow. And I didn't even measure, you guys. That was all eyeball. So basically we're going to use a piece about that large. You can make it as thick as you want. If you want to add multiple, if you want it sturdier, just add something that's sturdier, but basically in that dimension, and it'll fit basically perfectly inside of your folder pocket. So let's go ahead and glue that down. Now if you have double-sided tape, go ahead and use some. I'm still waiting for mine. So I'll be using those, and those will make an appearance as soon as they arrive in the mail. For now, handy dandy glue will do just fine. Any glue that you use, for the most part, will be okay. At least for this part of it. So basically, I'm just going to put this right there. I don't want it too close to either edge. I'm just going to do that. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is, let me get the scoring tool, and let me just score that real quick. Let me just score along that line with the scoring tool so that I can fold that flap a little bit better. You can achieve the same thing by using a ruler or some kind of a straight edge if you want. It's all good, Claudia. It's all good. So basically, this is going to serve as a pocket. I'm going to glue that part down. And then we're going to glue the big part, the one that's full, the one that we just removed the tab off. We're going to add that in the top. You see? So when you have it folded over, you basically have the beginnings of a pocket right there. Okay? But there are some things that we have to do to this paper before we can go ahead and do that part of it. So let me go ahead and glue this part down. Again, I'm not going to take anything off because I can use all of that. That's just all reinforcement at this point in time. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to add some of my blue edging. And I'm going to start gluing some of the other paper over this just to, again, reinforce it and also kind of cover it up a little bit. If you start off with prettier paper, like, you know, with text and stuff, that kind of helps you along the way because you don't have to add as much if you don't want to. So for right now, let's just put this to the side. Let's just work on this right here. And I have this, which I'm going to be using on the sides. And then I also have the paper that I have to glue down. So let's go ahead and grab that paper. And obviously you want to put the tape where you know it's either going to be in a fold or something like that so that it's not really visible and you don't have to worry too much about it being there. I have no idea. I'm in the zone. Oh, the light? Oh, they're outside, yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and add this here and then rip off whatever I can rip off and fill in like the other little spaces and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and just basically add some glue everywhere and get all of this stuff kind of glued down. And this is optional. You don't have to use this. You can just go straight to using the decorative paper, or you can just go straight to edging it up. It all depends on how you want it all to look and feel. I know you guys probably can't see the glue coming on there, but it is. I'm using a very fine tip applicator. It clogs up very easily though. Come on, glue. Today's not the day to fight with me. Where's the other bottle? Let's see. I think this one's worse. Hold on. Of course, when you're live, Carmen, of course. Get your glue bottles ready, girl. Let's see. I'm switching the caps. There's different glues. One has the Aleene's glue in it. The other one has the Crafter's Square, whatever it's called, glue brand in there. So let's see. Don't you just love it? Now I'm fighting with the glue. Now I'm the one freaking fighting with the glue. Thank you, my friends. Thank you so much for the thumbs up. Yeah. All right, let's see. Come on, glue, because this done dried already. I assume it has to be today. And they was working just fine a second ago. Let me switch the cap. If I can get it off the bottle, Lord help me. Help me get it off the bottle. Thank you. Throw me a bone. All right, let's see. Let's use this one. Let's use this one and see. This is a wider cap. It just has glitter all over it. But hopefully it'll do the job. Let's see. Oh, we got glitter. We got glitter. There we go. All right, so these are also caps from Deco Art, and they sell them in the packs. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna add our paper in. And again, we don't want too much of that. I mean, it doesn't really matter where the tape lands because you're gonna be covering over it anyway. And if you have double-sided tape, then it really doesn't matter because you could just add double-sided tape to that. I'm not gonna really worry too much about that right there. I'm gonna worry more about the rest of it. I'm basically just adding all this paper. You guys trying to tell me something? Like what, Tanya? What's that trying to tell me? All right, let's see. I could just fold that side. Well, let me go get some more paper. Here's where some of these other ones kind of come in handy. I'm gonna have to take my ruler off of how I stuck it because I need it. Put this little sticky right back down. And let me just rip off a piece from here. Let's see. That should be one big enough. And let's go ahead and glue that paper down. Okay, just make sure that the whole thing is covered. Now, it does add more to the process of what you're creating, but it is worth it though. And you're basically gonna fold everything onto itself. What are you munching on, Sasso? You're like crunching over here. All right, so let's just do that. Let's do the other side. And I'll go ahead and just run my glue real quick right through under that edge, just to make sure that all of that is completely sealed. And then I'm going to cut all of that edge off. And just put that to the side because you never know when you can use that to either embellish an envelope or something like that. So just don't throw anything out. Everything can be used. Oh no, no, Venus is not in the room. Venus is over there. Chilling, chilling. All right, so basically we have that now. And again, this is going to be put right over this one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and cover that side real quick. Where is, there we go. And then I'm going to go over them again. This is the crunchy one. I want the smooth one. I messed up on one of them. This one's at least somewhat smooth. Okay, so I'm not worried about which way the words are facing, but you know, if you want to be particular about that, you can. I'm covering up most of the stuff with paper, and a few upside down letters to show here and there is not gonna scare anybody away. So which one am I covering? This one. So we're gonna go ahead and cover this one. And I'm trying to do as much of the construction today as possible without going over an hour 20 or hour 30 minutes, you guys. This Saturday, I will be doing some mixed media stuff, so I hope that you guys will join me for that. Again, that'll be at 7 p.m. Put it like this. Girl, you hearing stuff. That's Larry knocking on the door. Larry wants a meow mix. Okay. The other side that's left over, or however you end up doing your paper, you can go ahead and just glue over to the other side. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I do greatly appreciate it. I'm super excited about this new series, and I hope that you guys get to crafting and make your own. If you haven't done so already, or if you're in the mood to try it out, super simple. Maybe I overcomplicate it more than it needs to be, but it is super, super simple, you guys. I need more paper, so let me go ahead and grab. Is that enough? Is that big enough? Let me see if this is big enough, ladies and gentlemen. This might just be exactly what I need, and it is. Yay! No need to cut up more. We can just use what we have. Just go ahead and add more glue here. Don't throw your scraps away. It could save you from having to rip up a page that you might be able to use in its entirety later on. Oh, that's the wrong one. It's this one. Okay. All right, so we're getting there. We're getting there, you guys. We're getting there. Let's see. Let me go ahead and cover this side as well. Nice one. This glue is fast. You gotta work quick. Make sure that my edges are covered. Come on, paper, work with me. Today's your day to shine. Don't you fail me now. I know, right? Poor Larry. Larry and friends. Has he come to get his food yet? Okay. Once you add like some of this blue inking all over the place, like oh my god, and you could add any kind of, you know, it depends on what colors of your paper or what color scheme you're going for. You can always add paint. It adds such a nice little touch. And you can sponge it on or kind of act as if you're distressing it, but just do it with the paint, and that also adds a really pretty touch to it. Let's see. I'm basically going to do that and do this in. And one thing about me, you guys, I love using glue, especially with paper crafting. But I don't like to use just any kind of glue. I'm very particular with my glues. And my passion for my glue has been reignited thanks to Isabel. So hopefully I can find more of this glue because, oh my God, I love it. I love it, love it. I missed it so much. I don't know why they had to replace it with that cheap stuff. He was working good. He wasn't broke. Why they try to fix you? So let's see. All right. Well, let's just go ahead and just add up. Make sure that all these edges, just the edges, and you don't have to go too crazy with trying to fill in all the spaces. As long as you mainly get the edges and most of, you know, the necessary areas, you're good. You don't have to cover the whole thing and blotch it down with glue. You don't have to go that far. All right, so see, I just want to make sure that all my edges, that they don't lift. Like that's what I look for. That none of my edges are gonna be lifting. Because as time goes on, that is exactly where they're gonna start breaking from. Now, if that's the acquired look, then that's different. But if you're actually trying to protect it from doing that, then you want to make sure that you get all those little lifted up spaces. Excuse me. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and glue some of these pages in. But again, if you want to protect these, you know, the sections in the center, you know, where they come together, then just add some tape to it. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I'm actually gonna rip them apart and just start kind of gluing them in. and filling in these spaces so that I can just go ahead and hurry along with this part of the process. And I'm basically going to do that. And again, just making sure that all edges and corners are nicely glued down, pushing that glue out so that hopefully it travels to all those little nooks and crannies. Just rub your page out. If it tears or it rips, just slap another piece over it. You'll be all right. Just call it a happy accident in case anybody asks. Okay, you guys, you see I'm struggling here with nails. Okay. Notice how I don't get too much wrinkling on the papers because I don't saturate the paper with glue. So you just and squeeze, 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 and you're good to go. Okay. Let's go ahead and do this part here. Maybe about that much is good. Go ahead and do that. Oh my God. So their bellies is full. They happy right now. They're like, yeah, we just ate. We chilling. We living la vida loca over here. Again, just making sure those seams, any edges that will be lifted are good. I don't mind a little bit of texture, but not enough that's gonna tear my whole book apart. So got that. See how that one, you roll over and it just picks itself up? I don't want that to happen, so I'm gonna make sure that's glued in. Okay. Oh my God, it's 7:37 already? Well, you're getting your research, uh-huh. I think we're gonna need about one more. And you can basically eyeball this. Again, it all depends on the paper that you're using. You just paper piece it. As you guys can see, that's basically what I'm doing. I'm just paper piecing and filling in wherever I need to fill in. Where's my glue? It's right in front of my face. Here we go. And basically just adding it in there as I need. After we do this, we're gonna start doing the inking up. And then we're gonna actually start building this thing together, and we're gonna add some flips and folds to it as far as some of the inserts that are gonna go inside. We're not just gonna plainly do just the cover today. We're gonna actually build it. And I'll just do what I'm doing to this, I'll do it to that after I've built it. So that way we save a little bit on time and I get to show you guys. Because again, this is intuitive, you guys, so if I build one ahead of time, then that kind of defeats the purpose, right? So I'm gonna cut all this excess off. Put this to the side because you never know when you could use it. And this is basically good to go. Let me cut off all this little excess and see where we are. So just basically going around it and just covering all of this up. Now I do want to punch in a decorative edge on the corner, and I want to do that for all of the corners. So let me see if I find that punch. uh, why didn't I think of this before? Because I always leave those things for last. So I don't think I'll be able to do it with this one. There's a punch that I have here somewhere. Hopefully I'll find it soon. If not, I guess it's gonna have to go without it. But oh man, where did I put it? I don't know. See what happens with intuitive, you guys? The good and the bad and the ugly about being intuitive is that you come up with things that you want to do or you want to add and you forgot to bring the stuff out. So you can't do it. All right, so basically what I'm going to do most likely then is round off just the corners because it's all I can do. And I'm going to do that manually. I'm just going to round off the corners, nothing too major. You can use something circular if you want to be more precise. Precision is not necessarily something that I care too much about. Even if they look a little bit different, I'm okay with that. It just says it's me that did it. All right, so again, find your folded area, right, where your fold is. We have our other piece here, which I haven't decorated yet, but I can decorate that after. My thing is to make sure that I can put this folder together. So let's just make sure that I can fold everything the way everything needs to be folded. Let's see. This way. So I need this to be this way. Right? I need this to be this way. So that I don't work here. Okay, we're also going to round off these corners here. And once we build the what the cover is going to look like, at least for me, it makes filling it in a lot easier. If that makes any sense, then I can figure out basically how I want to do what. So let me go ahead and grab this. I'm going to grab a blending tool to use this wax. This is Cosmic Blue by Deco Art. It's a metallic luster wax. There's a lot of different metallic waxes on the market today. So if you have anything that's similar to that, feel free to use that. If not, go ahead and grab yourself some ink, a marker, watercolors, whatever you would like to use. You can basically use at this point in time. I'm going to use one of these. Just pick up some of that blue. And this is wallpaper on here, so it's easy to clean up. So basically, I'm going to start kind of going into all of these edges and just, like if I was inking it up, basically that's the same thing that I'm going to be doing, but using the waxes to do it. This is water reactive, so if I feel at any moment in time that I got a little too heavy with the color, I'll just add a little bit of water and try to lift up some of it. But I really like the effect that I'm getting from this right now, as it is. So you might want to do this ahead of time, or you might want to do this after. For me, it all depends on the feeling, you know, whatever it is that I'm trying to do at that moment in time. Sometimes I do it after. Other times, like this time, I'm doing it all the way through and through, mainly because I'm sharing with you guys the process of it. Just cover that so it doesn't dry out while I need that. But yeah. So hopefully you guys watching back when you're getting ready to do your own, you find this helpful and inspirational and motivational. And I would love to see what you create and your own spin on it. I'm gonna go ahead and fold that over and basically do the same thing to the other side. And just add this blue all the way in here. So yes, definitely share, definitely share. We'd love to see. And it's basically a brand new group, so there's nobody in it but me right now. So hopefully as time moves forward, I'll get to see more and more of you guys' creations. All right, so we got that. I really like how that looks. And it's kind of shimmery. I'm gonna go rough against the edge, like solid against the edge, so that it just gives me a solid blue all around the edges. And that'll also help me to see like where it's loose at, like where the paper's kind of loose and where I need to add more glue. Like I can see that all along this edge I have to add more. So I got to do that real quick before I forget. Never mind you all. Oh, it fixed itself. It probably fixed itself, Tanya. Probably fixed itself. Let me just go ahead and do this. To this side as well. It's already nice and sturdy. Like it's already getting that sturdiness that I like just by adding the two layers over each other, the paper over the folder. So it'll like feel real flimsy at the beginning, but as you start adding the layers and adding all the different things and elements, it'll start getting hefty and just start feeling that weight on it. It'll start feeling nice and sturdy for you. All right, so basically this is done. This part of it is done. Now let's do the same thing to this side. And we're gonna be putting this like this, right? How is it? It's this way, right? Yeah, it's this way. Have to make sure, you guys have to make sure. So make sure you double check. All right, so let's go ahead and do the same thing here and just start adding some of this blue all over this edge. And you don't even need to pick up that much, which is what's awesome about this. You don't even have to pick up that much. And it'll do what it's supposed to do, which is blend it all out. Let me get some blue. Find some loose corners here. And like I say, you gotta make sure your corners are glued down. So that is the beginning of the end. Okay. And I could have done most of this off, but I wanted you guys to get the feel of the whole entire process. So, yep, that's what we're doing. We're just distressing all of these edges, which we don't even need to do all of them, I don't think, but we're gonna do them all just in case. But you don't really need to do the part that's gonna be hidden inside. At least I don't think so. A little bit more, and we're done with this part. And then we're gonna be gluing in and adding in the other folded sections that are gonna go inside of here. On the next installment, we're gonna be doing a little bit of both building as well as decorating as we go, until we finish this whole thing. So I'm not sure how many weeks exactly that's gonna take. It all depends on how elaborate it becomes. Okay. So basically, right this way. That's funny when you can't even figure it out yourself, right? All right, so basically we have that. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue down this part right here in the bottom and the sides only at this point in time. So I'm gonna move that forward. So basically you're gonna glue right here. You can also add your double-sided tape there if you would like. Anywhere that you see me applying glue is an area that you can add double-sided tape if you wish. And I like my pockets to be tight, which is the reason why I don't add like that little gusset Sometimes I'll add a gusset, sometimes I won't. It all depends. For it to be the outside of the pocket on the outside, I really want that pocket to be tight because it's gonna be on the outside. So it's easier for things to fall out of it if the gusset is loose and the pocket is open. So I'd rather keep it nice and tight on the outside, and in the inside, then I'll use gussets in order to keep the pocket a little bit more loose and roomy. And I'm basically gonna line these up and fold this down. And just clean these edges here. And now I'm going to continue to fill in the paper. Making sure that I cover this part of it as well. That I overlap the paper over to the other side. Make sure that's nice and pressed in. So basically I'm going to add a little bit right here. Not going to worry too much about the fold, but definitely after the fold I'm going to add and move this paper over and all the way across and just fill in this whole thing. Remember, the edges and the corners are the most important. You can grab one sheet. And I'm just going to basically start adding that in there. Let's see if I find a strip here. Maybe I can cut this one in two and have enough for both sides, hopefully. Let's see. Basically, we're just filling in the spaces. I kind of broke this one, but it's okay. We're just basically filling in all of those blank areas. This part is a little too small, so I'm going to go ahead and use scissors just to get what I need. Sometimes one is faster than the other. I'm just going to basically do that on there like that. We're just gonna fill in little gaps, and that's basically how we're gonna move along this whole process. Just fill in the little gaps, and just adding little things here, little things there, trying to get it as interactive as possible. Right now, I'm just making sure this glue is as spread out as I need it to be. And you could totally make this book so like never ending, but we're not gonna do that on this one. So we're gonna cut off all this excess. So let's go ahead and round off these corners as well. Just for the measure. But we basically have our back pocket already started to fall into this. Let me just make sure that it's glued down properly. Yeah, that's good. Just want to make sure that everything is glued down nicely. And you already have the beginnings of your first pocket. So you basically have in depth about 6 inches, give or take. So I do want to go ahead and get into these flaps, you guys. So obviously this is way too long, so we're going to go ahead and give these some spines. Now the spines that I'm going to give them is going to be about 1 inch or so, because that's usually more or less how I work with them. So I'm going to look for the the score here in the center of where my two flaps are. And from there, I'm going to score at 1 inch. I'm just going to mark this off. And on the other side, I'm going to do the same thing. Basically from that score line, 1 inch. And that's basically where I'm going to score at. And let me grab my scoring tool and use my ruler as my guide. And I do have a board, but this is just to show you how simple it really is. You don't really even need that many things. If you have a ruler, then you already have half the job done for you. And then just basically fold it over and just make sure that everything is aligned properly. So make sure you fold it over and you align it with the bottom edge. And you score it nicely. And now you have your spine. And now we're going to do the same thing with the other side. And we're going to just align our ruler to the bottom edge and try to make sure that our ruler is nice and straight. If you are using a ruler, if you're using a scoreboard, then you already got half the bottle done. You are good to go. So 1 inch. And hopefully that looks a little crooked to me, but hopefully my eyes is not deceiving. And score it down. Actually, let me leave the ruler so I can fold it up. Save myself that work right there. I'm having to bend this much with my hands. So here we go. Just kind of fold that upward. Make sure that this lines up nicely with the bottom. And now we're going to go ahead and add our inserts in here, which are going to be what's going to be the elements for when you flip this open. So this is going to be the beginning of a very basic kind of lap book. We're going to see how we can make this basic looking lap book into something more extraordinary. And how we're going to do that is again with some file folders. Now, I'm going to look for the ones with the middle tab, I think, for these. So I'm going to grab one for each side for now. And as we know, we have these little marks here, these little grooves. These little tab areas give you about 3/4 of an inch worth of score marks. Okay, we have 1 inch to play with here. So even if we put this whole thing in there, we score it up, we're still gonna have room to flip our books back and forth. You know, our pages back and forth. So even if you did that, you would still be able to, you know, open the book nice and easily and maneuver the pages nice and easily. So what we're gonna do to this, super simple, we're gonna go ahead and add the full fold on the 2 of the sections with the middle tab. We wanna go ahead and open these tabs on full fold. And then we're basically gonna flatten them out. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of mark these. So we're gonna put one inside of the other, and so that we make sure that we get the same cut in the same spot on both folders, we're gonna put one inside of the other. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my ruler. Now these Manila folders measure roughly 11.5 inches. So we're gonna go at what, like 5.5, give or take. So let's go like at 5.5. And let me just make myself a little marking there. And then I'm going to grab my ruler sideways. And I'm gonna draw a line. I'm gonna draw a line all the way across my Manila folders. Now, one side might be a little shorter than the other. That's really no big deal. And what I'm gonna do while these are still together, and while I have this center line here, you can either use it like this, or you can use it with a paper trimmer. Let's see if my paper trimmer will take the size of this. I think it will. I just put a brand new blade in here. I'm gonna push these together, and I'm gonna flatten them down as much as I can. Make sure that they're flush again. And we're basically gonna cut those in half. And you can just kind of open them apart. That one didn't go through all the way. Let me just top it out. Doesn't want to open. Almost cut through all of them, you guys. That was about to be very impressive. Almost. Almost very impressive. Almost. Okay. So, we have our sections, you guys. Let me just make sure that I got the right sections with the right section. So, this part goes with this part, right? Yeah. And this part goes with this part, right? Okay. So we have our sections, you guys. Now, obviously, to this, we're going to want to cover them up. Since I'm not going to be able to cover them up now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and edge these up in blue along the edges for right now, because I'm going to have to go ahead and mat these up with the paper after the fact. So that's basically what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put the folders as they were, and I'm just going to make sure that the score lines are still nice and pliable. And it's going to have one on each side, like so. And one on each side, like so. Or something like that. Basically, you guys get the gist of it, right? However the folders are supposed to look, you're going to basically do that. The way the folders are supposed to look. It's probably not going to be quite like this, but you guys know what I mean. So let me go ahead and just edge up these corners and all these edges, just in case some of this paper is kind of showing through, you know, as the pages are folding open and closed, because I'm not going to be able to cover the spines up all the way. So just making sure they have some of that blue in there. And it doesn't have to be the neatest job because it's going to be covered up, basically. So that is a chunk of wax that just came off of that. Look at how pigmented that is. So this looks crazy, but that's okay. I could add water to move it along, but I don't want to weaken the paper. That's why I'm applying the wax dry as it is. So if I add water to it, then it's going to weaken that cardstock. It's going to weaken that cardboard. So I don't want to do that. I just want to apply the color without applying any moisture to the page. And the last one. So these don't need to be pretty or look neat or anything like that. We're going to do this to both sides, which I forgot to do to the other sides, but we need to do it to both sides. Look, already my hands are getting dirty, even with paper crafting, you guys. You see how I cannot get away with it? I just cannot. And I want this metallic color on it because I have the same color in ink, but I wanted this to have that metallic-y kind of finish. And it might not be able to be seen properly through the video, but when you see it in your face, like, it's very shiny. Okay. Let's try to speed this up, Carmen, because you still got to assemble this part of it. And we're going to at least attach this part of it and hopefully one more complete set. And we're going to be doing some trimming off of those just so that they fit nicely. Um, and then we're going to be stapling them to the spine for now. And that's how we're going to start the adhesion process. We're going to add some glue and staple them together. Um, Staple them where they need to go. I got a mini stapler there that I'm going to be using, and I have a piece of foam so that I can staple in the center of the folders as well. So today's video is going to run maybe a few minutes later than I anticipated, but they will be short for the most part. Most 2 hours, 3 hours when I go live. So I don't want these Lapbook videos to be that long. I want you to be able to like sit down, have a meal if that's what you're gonna do, or sit down and do some crafting, and watch the process and be able to do the process with each video without being too overwhelmed. Look at that, like two little dots of. Come on, how much pigment do I have to pick up? Give me some of that blue love that I need right here. Come on. All right, so basically that's how I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna go too nuts with it because that's not even gonna be seen really. So by the time that you actually go cover it all up, you ain't even gonna really see it. So we're gonna do that part. So we're gonna go ahead. We've already cut these up. Let's put these to the side. Remember, we have these scored into the full in their full tab. Now we're gonna go ahead and grab our next set of two. And again, I'm gonna keep it with the center fold for right now. And for this one, all we're gonna do is score, but we're gonna leave one behind. So we're only gonna score where we have one score in the center, and we're gonna leave the other parts behind. And I'm gonna cut these down just a smidge. So you only want to see one little line between the two spaces. If you see more than that, then you went too far. So the first one's full. On this one, you're missing one. Okay. And so for this one, we're going to go ahead and cut some of this off. So we're going to have a little bit of a spline, basically about half an inch. So the first one is about 3/4 of an inch. This one's about half an inch. Okay, and we're going to leave this one in full. And basically, we're going to wrap this up one into the other one. So this one goes in the bottom. And this is the part that goes on the top. So you see, when you have it, you make one complete tab when you put them both together. And that's one. And it's the same with the other one. This is going to be on the outside. So we have one complete one. And I'm going to put the tab facing the part that is open. I kind of like how that looks. If you're OCD about something, feel free to put it how you like it. This is not a have to. This is just basically how I'm flowing with it. So this is what we're going to do. Okay. So to this, I'm going to go ahead and add glue and get them in there. And then I'm going to staple them to the other book. And basically that gives us a nice amount to start with. Now we are going to be adding things to this that are going to give us other elements in other sections. This is just the base for which to start working on and for which to start basically creating your lap book with. So I'm going to put one side in and then I'll do the other side. And if you notice I didn't add the blue paint to it, I will add it when I'm off camera and when I'm doing the other stuff. I'll go ahead and do that. I don't want to take up too much time. I'm doing that part of it. So this is the front. And I'll do the rest of all of this as well after that. So we have basically 3 parts here. So I'm going to grab my 2 bottoms and Since we're gonna cover these up, you can go ahead and you know, label them for yourself if you want. So this is 1 and 2, right? And this one you can write up, and this one can be the one that goes down, so that you kind of know what you're doing as you're doing it. And since everything here is exactly the same size, because we're doing folders that are basically the same size, it kind of takes a little bit of the guesswork out of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and basically just level this up with the spine. So I'm gonna grab the spine, and actually, before I do that, I'm gonna tape the spine up. I'm actually gonna tape this spine up, you guys, because I want to make sure that these spines don't split on me, and they can and they will, especially over use with, you know, with the bulkiness of the paper. So because I don't want to have to fight with this later, lessons learned, add some tape, or just reinforce your paper somehow. Okay, where the heck is this? I was just using this tape. Where's the ending? There we go. Okay. So I'm just gonna do that to both spines, and I'm using a really thin tape to do this. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And lift it. Don't lift on me. Tape, don't lift on me. That is like the opposite of what I need you to do. I think the wax is getting in the way. I should have taped it, then waxed it. Oh well. You live and you learn, you guys. Tape before wax. And masking tape will probably be better than this glossy tape. Then you can you know, gloss, do the shimmer stuff over it after. It'll also take it a lot better than this glossy tape will. So let's do that, and then let's go ahead and add that in there, and it pops off. Oh man, it pops off. I didn't do it on this side, so I'll just keep the one side that's staying on. Was staying on. Troubleshoot, guys. This is when you gotta troubleshoot. Troubleshoot. Let me see. This is the wrong glue. Where's the other glue? Add a little bit of that glue, right? And then I'm gonna pull out the big kahunas because I can't do nothing else but that. So I guess this one I won't be able to glue down. So I'm gonna have to will I be able to glue it down? Yeah, maybe from the back side. But I won't be able to glue it down from there. So from the top, it'll just have to be stapled in. I got fingerprints all over it. So basically we're gonna do this so that we have the whole thing covered. And try to be smooth with it if you can. And I'm not gonna bring it to the other side so that I have actual paper to glue. But this should at least help with it not tearing so easily. And I'll just put that side up so that when I staple through the glossy side. And that way the matte side on the back can actually hold the glue. And I'm gonna do that for all of them, only on one side. But I'll do that as I go so I don't confuse myself. So we have one. Let's go ahead and put one up. So one is gonna have to be like this with the glossy tape inward. So this just changed a little bit for me. And let me go ahead and glue this part of it down. I keep grabbing the wrong glue. Hello, hello, Sonia. And hello, Tanya. I'm sorry I didn't see you guys. I've been so busy adding tape and glue. So basically, I'm gonna go ahead and, as you guys can see, I have it marked up 1 up. So I'm gonna go ahead and just remove this tape off of here because it's practically useless at this point in time. It keeps lifting. Note to self: do not add wax first. When you're gonna add tape, add the tape after. All right, so that's good to know. So I'm gonna hold these kind of like at an angle like so that I have this kind of open. I'm gonna make sure that this lines up where I need it to line up, flush with my lap book, base and cover. I'm gonna put that right in there and just make sure that everything fits in nicely. Try to center that as much as you possibly can. If you're adding it with glue, then you have a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, and we're gonna start basically doing that. Now for this part of it here, remember I'm gonna be stapling the next layer on, so I'm okay with this having tape. I'll be able to cover that up later on with paper and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna worry too much about that. So we're gonna get number 2, and again we're gonna go ahead and glue this part on the inside. Actually, I think this is gonna end up going like this, right? Yep, this is gonna end up going like this. So we're gonna go ahead and add tape on the inside of this. Again, this is just to protect the you know the hinges and the spine and all of that good stuff. So we don't need to do it on both sides. At least I'm not gonna do it on both sides. If you're doing it with masking tape, you might want to do it on both sides. Masking tape is not as strong. And we're gonna cut up all this excess, leaving one side matte so that we can add our glue. And hopefully the wax does not interfere with me gluing the glue. Usually I add the wax after I've glued everything in place. Today I decided to add the wax before. This is what happens when you do experimentations live. All right, so let's go ahead and move this to the side. And again, I got myself a piece of foam. I actually harvested this from like one of those swimming foams like in the summertime that they be having like on sale. I got it on the clearance, and I basically use this so when I use needles I could just like, you know, put this at the bottom, cushion it with the stapler. That should work just fine. And again, I'm gonna fold this over and I'm gonna go ahead and add my glue on the spine area. Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. And we're gonna go ahead and add some glue here on the matte side, the side that we didn't put any tape on. Let me just make sure that my number 2 is facing in the right direction, meaning that it's legible and it's not upside down. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing. I'm gonna line these 2 up and just make sure that everything is everything. And everything is lined up. If they seem to overlap just a little bit, that is okay. Don't worry about that. It's magic. It's just lapbook magic. Just make sure that everything is lined up properly. That's your biggest thing right there. Just making sure that everything is lined up. Good to go. Just hold everything down for a second. Make sure everything folds over nicely. Hold this side. And we have room here. And it shouldn't interfere with anything. So let's see. I might have to cut some of this page off, which I'll do that in a second. I'm actually going to probably cut off both of them, just to make sure that they're level. So I'm going to cut off just a smidge on both of them. And if anything, I'll probably be adding my own type of custom tags to that. Making sure everything is good. I'll make my own little tab to add to those. So basically that's what it is. You don't have to worry too much about this right now. Let's go ahead and grab the sheet that's going to go in here, which is the one that's going to be the 1/2 inch. And that's actually going to be placed on the inside of that. And for this one, we're actually not going to glue it in place. Number 1, because we use tape here. And number 2, because we're also going to go over this afterwards. So it's okay to go ahead and staple this down and use it that way. So I'm going to grab my sponge. I'm going to grab a stapler. And hopefully I can get this stapler that I got. I didn't even test it to see if I could open it all the way. I should be able to open it all the way. We'll see. Can I? Yes. Right? Well, somewhat. We'll figure it out. So I got a foam and I got that. You can always use a needle or something like that if you want to use, if you want to do it like that. And I'm basically gonna align my lines. You should be able to see them. I'm gonna align my lines with the center lines, and I'm gonna put those right over each other, like so. And I'm gonna make sure that this is leveled. I'm gonna grab the sponge here. I'm gonna place it all under. And again, just make sure that everything is lined up properly. Make sure that your center lines are lined up, and you should be able to see them. You have the two little score lines here. Just line those two little score lines up with the top. Make sure everything is flush. As flush as you can get. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we're gonna grab. We're gonna try to grab. Lord help me. Am I gonna have to break this thing open? I think I am. Hold on 1 second, you guys. I don't want to take it apart. I mean, oh, just shot it at me. I need to open this thing. How do I open it? Come out, little stapler. Why? Why are you such a rebellious little stapler? The whole thing fell apart on me. This rebellious little stapler. Did I get no stapler today? Why is it the curse of the what can go wrong will go wrong? Okay, hold up. Hold up, hold up. I gotta reinsert this thing. Troubleshooting live, right? Something like that. Okay. Nope. No, okay. All right, you guys. So on to the second thing that we're gonna do then. Since we can't use the stapler, I have another one, but it's somewhere. I don't know where the heck it is. What we're gonna actually do then is troubleshoot this problem with a needle and a thread. Or you can add glue. That's completely up to you, which I can totally do that. But because I want to kind of move this along, I'm gonna go ahead and thread it out. And I'm basically just gonna thread it out through here, through the center. I'm not gonna go anywhere else but the center. Let me see. While you're doing laundry, Claudia? A stapler will be best, but if you don't have the stapler, you can always needle and thread it. Or you can use glue, or you can use double-sided tape. You can use double-sided tape if you have it. I'm waiting on mine, and my series came before my tape. It didn't arrive on time, so it's okay. I was not going to postpone it just because of tape. So there's more than one way to glue a paper. Or stick it down for that matter, right? So let's go ahead and do this. And I got my little sponge in the bottom. Super easy, super quick. You might want to clip this down. Let me see if I find a clip in here. Boy, did I ever. I found the most humongous clip. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. And we're gonna clip that down. Let's see if that'll work. And basically, I don't want to go too close to the edge, so I'm gonna go somewhere just along the top, like so. And I'm just gonna basically try to eyeball it, and hopefully I end up in a good place. Well, let me help myself cheat a little bit by making the hole for it and adding the next one in. So help yourself cheat a little bit and just add pre-make the hole, and then you can just feed it a little bit easier. And I am going to go into all of this with glue, just to make sure that everything is adhered properly, but I did want to add just a little extra level of reinforcement. And again, I'm going all down the center, trying to keep it somewhat evenly spaced. If you want to be more accurate, then use a ruler and just measure it out and make yourself some markings. I'm basically allowing myself to just kind of eyeball it. Let me see. Let's make one there, 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 and make one there, and maybe one more right there. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so let's just thread this through. Let's go ahead and find the next one and just basically keep doing that. I'm sorry I'm out of frame, you guys. I'm going to try to speed this part of it up and at least get this part of it in there. I'm going to do the same exact process that you guys saw me do on the other side, but I'm going to do that off camera, you guys. When I come back to you next Wednesday, we will continue to work on the elements that are going to go on here. We're going to start adding some of our flip elements. We're going to start adding some of our pocket elements. At least that is the goal, but we'll definitely get some progress going. So if you are at home and you're watching this, you can totally feel free to add the other side. If you've done this, just do the exact same thing. If you feel like double stitching it or adding another row of stitching on it, feel free to do that. You can go ahead and space it out a little bit and just make sure that you do that. Don't put your holes too close to each other because you'll weaken the paper. And then everything else will kind of feed through it. So basically we're going to go ahead and do that. It's just a regular straight kind of stitching, and I'm just going to double pass it and just until I run out of the thread. I'm just going to keep passing it through. The same holes that are already pre-existing. And we're going to do that for both sides. And this will basically just hold my pages in place. It won't add too much stress to the spine. And we can always reinforce the spine with some fabrics, some trims, or even more paper. And I'm going to glue this trim down. I'm not going to make knots for it or anything like that. I'm going to use it up until I can't use it up no more and glue up whatever's left over. And I think I'm about to be like almost make it to the end, but not quite have enough. So that's okay. That's okay. Well, I think we did make it all the way to the end. Wow. That's amazing. Right back where we started from. Okay. Let's see. Can I? Will I? Will it do it? It did. It did do it. So let's go ahead and flip this over and basically add that little thread. So just give yourself enough thread that you can pass it a few times. You shouldn't have to make any new holes for it or anything like that. And then just glue the thread down. And basically glue the thread down for all of them. And again, this is just to kind of reinforce the threading on it. And you can go ahead and do the same for the inside. And again, while that is kind of drying there, you'll have your cover. And then you'll have some flip elements right off the gate that we can go ahead and incorporate some things to. And we have something here, another page here that we can go ahead and add more things. And you have enough room between the previous page and the next page that you can open your pages nicely without having too much of a fight or, you know, too much work to do. So the beginnings, you guys, the beginnings. We're gonna work on the back pockets and we're gonna work on some of the other elements. So you guys stay tuned for next week's installment, which will be Lapbook Adventures episode number 2, series 1. And I hope that you join us. Again, the links to the Facebook group is down below. So if you would like to join us and start your process, I would love to see what you guys do with it. Thank you all so much for being here. And this is the beginning of our Lapbook Adventures, you guys. And I think this is going to be headed down a very fun street. So I do hope that you guys will join me on the next installment. Don't forget to catch me live on Saturdays at 7 p.m. for some mixed media fun, you guys, because yes, I do like to also get my hands dirty. So I'll see you guys then. Thank you so much for being here. Hugs and kisses to all the ones present. And I will catch you all on the next one. Bye.